Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mutiara, and I will be your guide for tour in Candi Jago. Now, follow me as we explore Candi Jago. Thank you. Jago Temple is located in Jago Hamlet, Tumpang Village, Tumpang District, Malang Regency, exactly 22 km east of Malang City. Due to its location in Tumpang Village, this temple is often called Tumpang Temple. The locals call it Chungkup. It is a temple relic of the Singosari Kingdom, which was built around the 13th century AD. This temple was built in honor of King Srijaya Wisnuwardana, who was the fourth king of the Singosari Kingdom, ruled from 1248 until 1268, by his son and at the same time the king who ruled at that time, namely King Kertanegara. According to the books of Negara Kertagama and Pararaton, the actual name of this temple is Jajagu. In Pupu 41, Gatra 4, Negara Kertagama, it is explained that King Wisnuwardana, who ruled Singosari, embraced Shiva Buddhism, which is a religious sect that is a combination of Hindu and Buddhist teachings. The stream developed during the reign of the Singosari Kingdom, located about 20 km from Candi Jago. Jajagu, which means majesty, is a term used to refer a holy place. Although built during the reign of the Singosari Kingdom, it is mentioned in both books that the Jago temple during the year 1359 AD is one of the places often visited by King Hayamuruk of the Majapahit Kingdom. The connection between Candi Jago and the Singosari Kingdom can also be seen from the sculpture of Padma, lotus, which protrudes from its hump, which adorns the statues. Such lotus motifs were very popular during the Singosari Kingdom. What needs to be observed in the history of the temple is the custom of ancient kings to restore the temples built by previous kings. Currently, Jago Temple is still in the form of ruins that have not been restored. The entire temple building is rectangular shape with an area of 23 times 14 meters. The roof of the temple is gone, so that the height of the original building cannot be known with certainty. It is estimated that its height reached 15 meters. Only half of the upper part of the temple remains, because, according to the surrounding community, the damaged upper part of the temple was caused by being hit by lightning. Almost all the temple buildings are used andesite raw materials. In this temple, there is also Manjusri statue placed in Ardityawarman as stated in the Manjusri inscription. Currently, this statue is stored in the National Museum. The temple building faces west, stands on a batur about 1 meter high, and the foot of the temple consists of three multi-story terraces. Going up, the food core of the temple gets smaller, so that on the first and second floor there is a corridor that can be passed to surround the temple. The Garbhagriha, or the main chamber, is located slightly backwards. The shape of the building is stacked. Aligned and shaped backward is a common form found in buildings in the megalithic era, which is called a step-punden building. The form is generally used in building places of worship of ancestral spirits. Judging by its shapes, it estimated that the purpose of the construction of Jago Temple is also for the worship of ancestral spirits, but further research and study is still needed to prove the truth. To go up to the upper floor, there are two narrow stairs on the left and right side of the front. The floor that plays the most important role and is the purest is the top, with the building slightly shifted to the back. Jago Temple is filled with neatly carved relief panels from the feet to the top wall of the room. There are almost no empty fields, as they are all filled with a variety of ornaments in the interweaving of stories that contain elements of the pattern. This strengthens the allegation that the construction of Jago Temple is closely related to the death of Sri Jaya Wisnuwardana. In accordance with the religion adopted by King Wisnuwardana, namely Shiva Buddha, the reliefs on the Jago Temple contain both Hindu and Buddhist teachings. There are reliefs depicting various stories, and to read them, you can circle the foot of the temple in a clockwise direction, or commonly called Pradakshina. In the middle of the front courtyard, about 6 meters from the foot of the temple, there is a large stone carved to resemble the shape of a giant sculpture, with a stone diameter about 1 meter. At the top, there is a sculpture of a Padma flower protruding from its hump. On the west side of the temple courtyard, there is an eight-armed statue of Amoghapasa against the backdrop of a giant head-shaped throne facing each other. The head of the statue was missing, and its arms were broken. About 3 meters south of the statue there is a statue of a monster's head as high as about 1 meter. No information was obtained as to whether the objects found in the courtyard of the temple were actually in their respective places. The reliefs are Krishnayana relief, Kunjarakarna relief, Pancatantra relief, Fable relief, Arjuna Wiwaha and Patayaan, and Kalawayana relief. And now allow me to explain about the reliefs. First, Krishnayana relief. This relief is located on the third terrace of the temple. This relief tells about the life of Sri Krishna, which is almost similar to the life of King Wisnuwardana. This relief tells of the marriage between King Wisnuwardana and Naraya Waningyun, which is depicted with Krishna and Devi Rukmini, where Wisnuwardana is a cousin of Naraya Waningyun. At that time, Dewi Rukmini was engaged to a Candi king, but actually Dewi Rukmini's mother did not agree with Dewi Rukmini's engagement and preferred her daughter to be married to Krishna. Until finally, the mother of Devi Rukmini asked Krishna to immediately marry Devi Rukmini. However, this was known by the Candi king, and immediately to hasten his marriage to Devi Rukmini. When the wedding day arrived, Devi Rukmini did not remain silent. She meditated to be given away so that she could marry Krishna, until he got the idea to disguise himself as a hermit. And Devi Rukmini's plan was successful to escape from the marriage and managed to go to Krishna. This was known by the Candi king, so at that time he was also looking for Krishna and wanted to kill Krishna. Rukma, the sister of Devi Rukmini, was also involved in searching for Krishna in an effort to help the Candi king. At the time, King Candi was blocked by Krishna's troop and was defeated by Krishna's troops. Meanwhile, Rukma met with Krishna, but Rukma also could not match Krishna's supernatural powers. And finally, Krishna and Devi Rukmini can live together. Next is Kunjarakarna relief. This relief is located in the northeast part of the Jago temple. Kunjarakarna is a story about giants based on Mahayana Buddhist stories. It is said that Kunjarakarma wanted to be reincarnated into a person who had a beautiful face, so he imprisoned on Mount Sumeru. He came to Vairocana and was allowed to visit hell. From there, he got the news that soon his friend would die and would go to hell for hundreds of years. Then Kunjarakarna asked Vairocana to be given leniency to his friends, and finally Kunjarakarna is allowed to tell his friend about his death. Finally, the them also died, but only 10 days of torture in hell, then brought back to life. And the end of the story is Kunjarakarna and the friend is imprisoned on Mount Sumeru. Now is Pancatantra relief. This relief tells of a Brahmana who taught the science of life and wisdom to three princes who could not hear, and the knowledge learned there are five teachings, which are also called Pancatantra, where the five teachings are Mitra Beda for difference, Mitra Prapti for arrival, Kakolukia for war and peace, Landansa for loss and good fortune, and Apariksita Karitwa for hasty action. Usually, Panchatantra is described in the form of fable stories and frame stories. Moving on to the fable relief. It's on the left side of the foot of the temple in the northwest. It tells about animals, such as century stories, where in this section consists of several panels. While in the center of the temple tells about a turtle who wants to fly. The turtle asks the crane for help to fly with him. The crane obeyed the turtle wish, where the crane carried a twig with its feet, while the turtle bit the twig so that it could fly with it. The turtle was finally able to fly with the help of the crane, but when they arrived in the middle of the journey, they met a pack of wolves below who were laughing at the turtles. Since the turtle was talkative, he returned the scorn of the wolf. When the turtle spoke, he opened his mouth and released a bite on the twig carried by the crane. And at the moment the turtle fell because he removed his teeth from the twig, and became food for the wolves. From the fable story above, it also teaches us about life, where we must be patient and remain firm in our convictions when pursuing our dreams, without having to hear ridicule from others. The Arjuna Viwaha and Patayaan reliefs tells about the Pandava who lost to the Kauravas because of Sungkuni's cunning. Therefore, the Pandavas lived as ordinary people in the forest. Then, one of the Pandava, namely Arjuna, went to meditate and left his brothers. Arjuna asked Lord Shiva to give him a weapon to defeat the Kauravas. Lord Shiva gave Arjuna a weapon in the form of Pasupati arrows, but on the condition that Arjuna had to help defeat the giant Nitwakacha who was raging in heaven. The reason why Nitwakacha raged in heaven was because his proposal to Dewi Suprabha, one of the nymphs in heaven, was rejected by the gods, thus making Nitwakacha angry. Arjuna also agreed to the request of Lord Shiva, and it turned out that Arjuna was able to defeat Nitwakacha and get Pasupati's arrow, and was also married to Dewi Suprabha. However, Arjuna also did not forget his main mission. He then said goodbye to help his brother to defeat the Kauravas. The last one is the Kalavayana relief. It is still related to the story of the Krishnayana relief, which tells the story of the war between the king of Kalavayana and Krishna. The roof of the temple was once thought to be made of fibers or wood, but now it is no longer there. Not far from the temple building, he found a statue of Manjusri, which is currently stored in the National Museum of Indonesia. On the back of the statue, there is an inscription explaining that this temple was built by the king of Kertanegara to honor his deceased father, who was also the king of Singasari, namely King Wisnuwardana. And according to Bosch's interpretation, from the inscription, there is also information about Aditya Varman, who did a total renovation of this temple because at the time the temple was in a state of disrepair. The Manjusri statue itself is considered the embodiment of wisdom. This statue sits on a lotus flower, or a sparkling lotus flower, where in the right hand of this statue he holds a sword, which has the meaning of resistance against darkness. In his left hand is a book in the form of a palm leaf manuscript, and on the chest of this statue there is a rope around it. In addition to the Manjusri statue around the Jago temple, a statue of the goddess Brukti was also found, which has many hands. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. That's all for Candi Jago. Thank you for listening to my explanation. I hope we can meet in another occasion. Thank you. Bye bye.